This year marks the 5th year of Australia's world-leading workplace gender equality reporting. Our latest data shows another year of positive movement towards workplace gender equality. Over the past 5 years, the gender pay gap has slowly declined. Men are still earning, on average, 21.3% more than women, and a gender pay gap remains across every industry and every occupation.
The reason that this gender pay gap exists in Australia is what they're talking about here is workplace choice. Australia is a free country. They vote on who gets elected and they vote on laws and things like that, just like in the United States. And what happens is they let women choose their career path. So more women choose to be nurses instead of doctors, whereas it's the other way around for men. Who makes more, doctors or nurses? It's really that simple. And who makes more, engineers or daycare center workers? Well, engineers do. More men choose to be engineers, more women choose to be daycare workers. In fact, if you're a male daycare worker, that's probably not going to happen in Australia or in the United States. Why? Well, because you would be looked at as a suspect if you were. Maybe if you were. No, not even if you were gay. Could you do that? Yeah, so this is what they're talking about here in this gender pay gap. It's not that women are being paid less. That's illegal in Australia.
In leadership, women are increasing their presence in senior roles. Other than CEOs, the largest improvement we've seen over the 5 years we have been collecting data is the percentage of women in senior management. This is a really positive outcome for women and for Australian organisations more broadly.
Yeah, well, what about the increase in women in construction work, in sewage work, in mining, in the military, in all these jobs that are not favorable to women, at least not favorable to their desires? Who wants to work in a sewer? Who wants to actually climb down into a hole to walk around in a river of feces and urine? Who wants to do that? I do not want to do that, and I'm a man. Do you think women want to do that? I can't imagine any woman wanting to do such a job. And that happens. There are jobs where you have to go in to the sewers on a daily basis and clean the feces buildup out so that there's not a blockage in the sewage pipes, because otherwise, you get serious problems when there's blockages. Yeah, that's a job that people do every single day. I don't want to do that. There are plenty of jobs out there that men don't want to do that they would find undesirable because of the conditions of the job. And women are more likely to find the conditions of a job undesirable than men are, right? That's just, we know that is just a factual thing. Furthermore, there are just simply jobs that women are not going to be able to maintain long term. I used to have a girlfriend a long time ago who, her father lived in Indianapolis. We were driving down the highway once, and they were talking about the construction on the highway had been going on for so many years, and there was a part of the highway that was off to the side. They hadn't started working on, and they said the reason they hadn't started working on it was because they couldn't take heavy earth-moving machinery into there. They had to do it by hand. And my girlfriend's father's husband said, "Oh, yeah, I wouldn't want to do that." And I'm like, I would do it. I would do it if you paid me enough. I mean, you have to go in there and dig that out by hand. Yeah, let's get some pickaxes and some shovels, some wheelbarrows, and let's get to work. It's fine. I mean, I'm willing to go and do a hard day's work, accomplish something, get paid for it. That's just the bonus of doing that type of work, and go home and get a good night's sleep. I don't mind doing hard physical labor. It doesn't appeal to this man that was riding in the car with me, though. He was saying he would never do that. He was offended that I would even consider doing such a job. How dare I? And he's a man. But how many women are even going to be capable of putting in a hard day's labor 5 days a week? Working physically, exerting themselves for 8 hours straight. How many women are going to be able to do that? It's a question that I don't think very many, but.
The more employers take action, the better the gender equality outcomes. Over the past 5 years, we've seen a strong increase in employers analysing their data for pay gaps and then taking action. When employers take action on their pay gap, gender equality increases and the gender pay gap declines.
It is illegal to pay people based on their gender, even in Australia, and we'll talk about this in a minute. I'll show you statistics.
Employer action on gender equity has increased every year for the past 5 years, and every year for the past 5 years, the gender pay gap has declined. Our 2018 data reinforces the value of measuring workplace gender equality. It shows clear evidence that employer action delivers real results. The business case is clear. It also shows us where we need to make more effort. The availability of paid parental leave for both women and men is still too low.
Notice there that she pulled up some statistics on women and men getting parental leave. She's pretending like she cares about men and male issues. She does not, and I will prove that to you when the video is over.
Access to flexible work is still too low, but it is improving. And we need to increase the number of employers taking action to close their pay gaps. Our latest data is available now. Please head to our website to find.
So this is where I went. I went to this website here. Let's see what it says. So here it is. Gender Equality in Australia, a guide to gender equality in 2020. So that video was from 2018, and you will see here that organization she's talking about started in 2012. Understanding gender equality in 2020 workplaces requires a broader understanding of gender equality in Australia. Gender inequality in society often informs our experiences and attitudes in the workplace. This article gives an overview of gender equality, why it is important, Australian laws, and Australian gender equality statistics. Okay, so that was Libby Lyons here in the video. This is Libby Lyons, in case you didn't know who this is. She is an outspoken feminazi in Australia, and she is going to basically have to eat her words when we read through this. What is meant by gender equality? What is gender equality? It is the equal treatment of all genders. It means all genders will enjoy the same rights, opportunities, responsibilities, and protection. So they have the same opportunities. Nobody across the entirety of the human race has always had the same opportunities as everybody else. It's not possible to give everyone the exact same opportunities. This is ridiculous. I'm never going to be a professional football player. I don't have the height and weight to do that job. Gender equality in Australia affects everybody's experiences and makes a safer and healthier community. Yeah, does it now? Well, if you give equal rights to everyone, yes, you're right. But if you force equality onto people, that's not going to be the case. You're not going to have a better outcome. In a gender equal world, we would see equal access to education for boys and girls. Well, I think that Australia already has that. Equal representation of women in leadership positions in workplaces and in politics. No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't see that in a gender equal world, not in a truly gender equal world, because fewer women are going to want to be in management positions in politics and in workplaces. That's just how it is. Recognition of the value of unpaid and domestic work. We already recognize this as a valuable part of our society. How do you monetize this? I mean, you just want to give housewives checks? You just want to give mothers? Oh, wait, we already do give mothers checks. It's called welfare. If you have a child, you can get a welfare check in the United States. It's not that hard to do. I don't know if that's the case in Australia. I'm imagining it's similar, though. I don't think it's probably going to be that much different. Equal access to economic resources such as financial services, inheritance, and natural resources. Okay. In Australia, you seriously, women don't have equal access to financial services? They can't go to the bank? Inheritance, well, that's a personal thing. You decide who it is that gets your money when you die. That's how it is. And not only that, I mean, what about a family that only has female children? When the parents die, are they giving their money to a man just because? Or are they actually giving it to the women, their daughters? And how is it that women don't have access to natural resources? They have just as much access to natural resources as men do. No discrimination against women and girls. But what about discrimination against men and boys? That's okay. That's okay. We don't mind that. No gendered violence. Yeah, this is a vague term. What this actually means, the way it's written here, is that there is violence because of gender. There is violence because of gender, period. Okay, so that can go both ways. Women can commit violence against men because they are men, and men can commit violence against women because they are women. And you know what? Women can commit violence against women because they're women too. And men can commit violence against men because they're men. That's all possible. And I bet it all happens. Everything that I said there, I'm sure happens. What is the importance of gender equality? Gender equality is a human right. Almost every human rights treaty includes a prohibition on gender discrimination. Achieving gender equality has the potential to save many lives of women and girls. Gender inequality can play a significant role in the life expectancy of women and girls. Really. Now, how come women and girls live longer? You keep banging on about how, hey, look, it's not fair for women. It's not fair to women to have the treatment that they get. But women somehow live longer. But you're saying right here that the life expectancy is going to be different for women and girls because they're not getting equal treatment. So maybe if we gave women and girls equal treatment, they wouldn't live as long. Because right now they outlive men significantly. This can be seen in higher death rates during and after natural disasters. You're talking about evil opportunists taking advantage of the situation, and men are going to be more likely to be violent against women. It happens. This is an unfortunate thing because there are evil people in the world. So what you really need to address is evil and get rid of the evil. I don't know. I mean, that's what you have to deal with, right? Women are going to be weaker, less able to defend themselves, and when there's an opportunity, there's going to be evil people that come along and take advantage of that situation. That's just how it works. When you have a lawlessness, that's how it works. So what you need to do is not have a situation where there's lawlessness. But, oh, wait, I think it's women that are calling for defunding the police. Yeah, that's not going to go so well for women. In the disproportionate gendered effects of climate change, you mean global warming, and in medical bias. No, these things don't happen in the United States anymore. I don't know about Australia. Maybe Australia's behind the times. You can check these sources. I'll probably leave a link to the page in the comments section. These sources, I haven't looked through all of them, but everyone that I looked through really didn't have a link to how they were generating these statistics. They just stated the statistics as if they were true, no matter what their methods were. There is also a strong global case to why gender equality will benefit us all. The UN says gender equality is essential to achieve peaceful societies with full human potential and sustainable development. Women and girls make up half the population of the world, so they make up half the potential of society. Recognizing the value of women and girls' contributions, skills, and work allows us all to progress in the global community. Oh yeah, the UN. So we should take a look at Emma Watson. Oh yeah, she did some stuff for the UN, right? Emma Watson refuses to feel anxious about turning 30 and being single. Yeah, well, she's an attractive woman. And she has enough money to attract a man. I mean, although if you listen to the MGTOW community, they will always tell you about how men don't care about money. Men don't care about money. But I can tell you hands down right now, if two equally beautiful women came to me and said, hey, I want to date you, and one of them was rich and one of them was poor, there's a really good chance I'm going with the rich one over the poor one, just because I want to have access to that coin so that I can achieve my goals more easily in life. So Emma Watson has the looks to attract a man. She has money that might be appealing to a man, most likely would be appealing to a man, $60 million worth. And yet she wants to get up on stage and say, hey, look, all you men are evil and bad. You need to stop it. I don't have the same equal rights as you because I'm a woman, even though I got $60 million in the bank. You need to stop it. It's like, yeah, there's countries where women aren't treated as equally as men. England is not one of them. And if we look here on the mistreatment of women, hey, a Muslim woman says domestic violence is a beautiful blessing and show men should hit wives in Facebook video. Sick moment. Muslim teacher demonstrates how a man should beat women with a stick. As Islamic group says, a husband's violence towards his wife is a beautiful blessing. And we can see down here this person they're talking about. Where can I find? Right here. Miss Aluche is the name of the teacher in question. But I think it says her full name like Reem. Yeah, Reem Aluche, the teacher. Let's see, school teacher. Sydney primary school teacher, Reem Aluche. So you want to go into these communities that say, hey, beating women is okay. It's fine. We like it, in fact. It's a good thing. Women are saying this in these countries, and you want to change that. And I've seen this from other cultures, too, where they accept husbands beating their wives. I don't accept it. I don't think it's right. I've never struck my wife, and I have no intentions of ever doing so. I think it's wrong to do that. You shouldn't strike your spouse. It's not something you should do. But there are cultures where they think that's okay. The women think that's okay. You need to focus on those cultures, not on the Western culture that doesn't think it's okay. I don't think it's okay. I don't know any person living in the West who thinks it's okay to hit your wife. Achieving gender equality in Australia will have a significant impact on our economy. Research suggests that it would lead to more jobs and increased GDP. These are two important pieces of our economic strength, which could result in decreased poverty, higher life expectancy, and better quality of life. Okay, you have gender equality in Australia. You have that. There are laws that inform that. So the thing is you want to get this economic equality, the perfect economic equality, where all women make exactly the same as all men on average across the board. How are you going to do that? How are you going to achieve that? without forcing that to happen. Because as long as you give people freedom of choice, freedom of movement, they're not going to choose to do the same things. Women have a desire to do different things. I've already talked about this. Gender equality laws in Australia. There are specific gender equality laws in Australia to ensure everyone is treated fairly. Australia signed the Convention of Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women in 1983. Signing the convention is a commitment to promote gender equality in Australia through policies, laws, organizations, structures, and attitudes that work towards the equality of all genders. It outlines the rights that women should have across many aspects of life, including political participation, health, education, employment, housing, marriage, family relations, and laws. You can read more here. Upon signing the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, Australia introduced a Sex Discrimination Act in 1984, so a year later. Federal legislation that prohibits sexual discrimination under the Sex Discrimination Act of 1984. People are protected from discrimination and unfair treatment due to sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, intersex status, relationship status, pregnancy, and breastfeeding. Human Rights Commission is in charge of overseeing this act. If you would like to know more about the work they do, you can go to, there. The Workplace Gender Equality Agency oversees a Workplace Gender Equality Act of 2012. There you go. This is the thing that brings us to this page. This video is talking about, the video with Libby Lyons video is talking about this. This legislation replaced the Equal Opportunity for Women in the Workplace Act of 1999. The legislation aims to improve and promote equality for both women and men in the workplace. The principal objects of the act are to promote and improve gender equality in Australia, including equal remuneration between women and men in employment and in the workplace, support employers to remove barriers to the full and equal participation of women in the workforce. There's barriers to entry? Since when? 1983 said there's no barriers. Promote amongst employers the elimination of discrimination on the basis of gender in relation to employment matters. Again, this is illegal, so what are you talking about? Including in relation to family and caring responsibilities. Foster workplace consultation between employers and employees on issues concerning gender equality in employment and in the workplace. Okay, well, it's still illegal to discriminate based on gender in the workplace. I don't know what else you can do. You want to talk about it? Okay, so we keep talking about it. Well, it's not your gender that is causing these inequalities. Improve the productivity and competitiveness of Australian business through the advancement of gender equality and employment in the workplace. Yeah, it's already illegal to do this. These are all the same thing. Just make the workplace more equal. All 5 of these points. They're all make the workplace more equal for men and women. It's like it already is equal. Men and women have to be paid the same by law. Men and women are able to do whatever job they want to do, as long as they can qualify, minimum requirements for that job. I don't know what else to tell you, Libby Lyons. It's not difficult to figure this out. Gender equality in Australia has improved significantly, but gender inequality still remains. The Workplace Gender Equality Agency also collects data relating to gender equality in the workplace. The Australian Bureau of Statistics gathers gender inequality statistics across 6 domains of interest: economic security, education, health, work and family balance, safety and justice, and democracy, governance, and citizenship. This data illustrates the gender equality issues that still require attention. Currently, Australia's national gender pay gap is 14% at May 2020. Women's average weekly ordinary full-time earnings across all industries and occupations is $1,558 compared to men's average weekly ordinary full-time earnings of $1,812. There is still a gap in workforce participation for people with young children. 64% of women with children 5 years old and younger participate compared to with 95% of men. Women are still retiring with significantly less superannuation than men. Okay, so here's the solution to these problems. Women should take even more time off of work to spend with their children, because why else would you have children unless you wanted to spend time raising them? I don't understand this concept of, I'm going to have my kids and it's going to give them to strangers and then go off and work all the time. Now, it's fine if you want to have daycare sometimes, like, a couple days a week. That's great, because that gives children an opportunity to socialize with their peers and understand that situation better, to over time learn how to socialize better. But why would you have children if you didn't want to be involved in their lives? Still, I can only go back to that. You have children to raise them. I just have children to pass my seed on. That's what I did. Okay, well, you're a garbage human being then. Sorry, that's just how it is. So women should take more time off to raise children and then be better wives to their husbands, so their husbands are less likely to want to not be with them, and they should also be more committed to their family in general, their husbands and their children, so that the women actually, focus on that as a part of their life. That way they're more likely to, retire with a husband who makes money, who had enough money to support both of them. They also have the joys and benefits of raising children. Why should it fall on the women? Men can stay home and raise the children while the women go to work. That's fine. That's an option. But women are just better suited for child care than men are, both physically and mentally. They're better suited for child care physically because they can bear children and give birth to them, and then they can produce breast milk, which is difficult for men to do. Men can't actually bear children. That's one of the things where, men are limited. Like I said earlier in the video, you don't get to do whatever you want in life. You just can't do everything. Men can't bear children. They just can't. So the man goes off and he does work. He goes out and slays the dragon, brings home the bacon, however you want to say it. And then the woman is, there to take care of his house and his children. This is not a difficult concept. I don't understand why it has to be economic equality across the board. If you focus on family and keeping strong families together, then women are still retiring, this line here, women are still retiring with significantly less superannuation than men, will not matter as much. And it should be to the point where it barely matters at all. It should be like, oh yeah, I was married for 50 years and my husband died and I have another 6 years to go probably on average, but it's fine. I have enough money from my husband's pension or his 401k or whatever it is that I will be okay for the rest of my life. Not only that, if you're a good mother and actually take care of your children and treat them with respect and dignity that they deserve as human beings, your children will step up and go, okay, well, I'm young and still working and my mom needs help. I'll help her out if I can. That's the system that we used for generations that worked really well. And now we want to get rid of it and saying there's a better system, and that system is women should go to work and not be good mothers, and women and men should have basically their separate financial lives to take care of as they see fit and not worry about the family at all. Women represent 58.4% of students in higher education and outnumber men in higher education completion rates, but a gender pay gap exists in favor of men across 16 out of 21 fields of study at an undergraduate level. Okay, you can check the reference here. I think I did, and it was bunk. Let's see here. Yeah, it doesn't even. Oh, there it is down here. Let's go back here. Introduction. So it goes through key findings, and it says the same thing, but it doesn't say what these things are. Coursework level. So at undergraduate level, 16 out of 19 are postgraduate. So, and then you can come down here, and then it gives you these statistics here, which are interesting. But they don't really say anything other than, look, there's a difference in what people want to do for a living. Female-dominated employment is, education, health, society, and culture, and creative arts. Well, I fit into two of these categories. I'm a creative artist who teaches creative art, so I'm an educator and a creative artist. We have a mixed bag here with agriculture, natural and physical sciences, and management and commerce, where it's relatively equal. And then you have male-dominated, which is architecture and building, information technology, engineering, and related technologies. Men are more interested in that sort of thing. Okay, that doesn't really tell us anything other than that men and women have different interests. Let's go back here. All right, so that was 16. The gendered life expectancy gap has improved over the last 40 years, but women are still expected to live 4.2 years longer than men. Women are more likely to report experiencing high or very high levels of psychological distress or a mood affective disorder than men. Well, that's because women are more affected by their emotions than men are. And we're putting them into a position in society that is not conducive to women. Women are just happier being housewives. That's just generally how it is. I don't know what to tell you. The evidence is there. We've seen it all over the place the last few years. Women are 5 times more likely to be victims of forced intimacy assault than men are, and instances of forced intimacy against women are increasing. I think all crime in Australia is increasing over the last 5 years, isn't it? These statistics give a brief snapshot of gender equality in Australia outside of workplace and provide insight into where improvements still need to be made. Now, so like I said, they do not care about men. And this is the exact example I wanted to share right here, this right here. They talk about it right here. Oh, we care about men. Oh, look, there's a 4.2 year gap. Women live longer than men. Okay, well, and then we come down here and we say, oh, women are 5 times more likely to be the victims of assault, of a certain type of assault that is absolutely heinous. And I feel sorry for anybody who's experienced this. It's very, very wrong. And, you know, I wish you the best if this has happened to you. Get whatever help you need to overcome the trauma that has been inflicted upon you. It's horrifying. But they don't say anything about what men go through, the violence that is committed against men. So let's look here at some statistics here. This is the United States, but we'll get to Australia in a moment here. This is number of murder victims in the United States in 2019 by race and gender. We got male here. Total 10,908. Female 2,991. What? Wait a second. How come they don't say anything about men being the victims of murder? Because this is not about men. This is not about men. That's my point. Let's go over here. Oh, let's look at violent crimes. Just violent crime in general. Every single year, the light blue is men. The dark blue, the navy blue is women. Every single year, men outclass women. Oh, except for here, 2015. And here, 2018, where women are just barely squeak out. There's 3,300,000 crimes, roughly. Women get about 18,000 more. 18,000 more out of 3,300,000 crimes. So women barely squeaked out here in 2018. They did pretty well here in 2015, where we had about 2,700,000 crimes, and women actually had about 200,000 more crimes. So there was a significant difference there where women were. Oh, I guess right here too. They barely in 2017 they barely beat men. Yeah, they beat men by about 5,000 out of over 3 million crimes that were committed in the United States. Women beat men by it's only like 4,000 actually, 4,000 crimes. But every other year, and here 2005, look at this. They didn't even count the years between 2005 and 2013 because it was just men on top, I'm sure. But men were there were like 600,000 more men were victims of violent crimes than women were. It's becoming more equal. So this is what you get when you get equality. All of a sudden you just get more and more women becoming the victims of violent crime. Is that what you want? How do you want this equality so that women can suffer more? It's ridiculous. When you look at Australia, I don't find good information on Australia because I guess probably because I'm American. I don't know how to do it. But we can look here and say, oh, look, over 2/3, 70% of homicide victims in Australia were male. No mention of that. Yes. 83% of this forced intimacy are women. That is horrifying. I'm not saying it's not. In fact, I think it's worse than murder, but that's my own personal opinion. You can have a different opinion. The murder of men, though, is not mentioned. The fact that that 70% of homicides happen to men. And more violent crime in general, they don't have like in here a general statistic on all of Australia regarding just violent crime in general, but they do have I can look through here, you can find one of their New South Wales, for example. I don't think that they had unlawful entry. They just had other crimes, but look at New South Wales. You're going to see assault. 53% are male. Assault is a violent crime. More than half is male, right? Yeah. So men are being victimized, but they don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about how women are not. Women don't get these fancy high-paid jobs. It's not fair. I want to work in an office and make like $200,000 a year. There are men who are doing that. It's just not right that I don't get to do that because I'm a girl. But it has nothing to do with you being a girl. It just has to do with the fact that you have better priorities than men. You really do. I mean, taking care of kids, being a mother, being a good mom, so important. And yeah, you don't get paid for it, but it's still the most important job that a person can do. And maybe we could develop some sort of system where women do get paid for being mothers. But we already have that in the form of welfare. And women would, of course, take advantage of that, just like they're taking advantage of everything else in our society when they can just go out and find a rich man to get them pregnant. And then they're on easy street for the next 18 years. They can be on such a big easy street that the amount of money they're being paid for 18 years would be enough to last them the rest of their lives easily. And I've known women, attractive women, who a man found them, a man with money is like, hey, look, you never want to work again? The women are like, yes, I never have to work again. All I have to do is be his wife. I'm taking that deal. I get to go and do whatever I want, basically. Just got to be a good wife. All right. That's a lot easier road to walk down than getting a job and earning my own way. So they take the deal. Happened to women in my family. I come from a family of attractive people. My relatives have been involved with men who are very wealthy, and they're just like, yeah, you never have to work again. But for whatever reason, the women in my family are like, oh, no, I want to work. I want to be like independent and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, you are crazy. If I had the opportunity to go, yeah, I don't have to work anymore, I wouldn't want to be a house husband. But if I could be with a woman who's like, yeah, I don't have to work either. Neither one of us has to work. We can just live off of the investments that we have or whatever system that we have set up. And we can just like chill and be a couple. I would love that. That would be amazing. I don't have that situation. Not very many people do. That's the exception, not the rule. So anyway, Libby Lyons, of course, spreading more of her lies. I'm going to shout out to my Australian fans. This one's for you. But, I think the Americans that watch my channel will get something out of it too. Thanks for watching. Oh, before we go, one last thing. Well, let's take a look here. Here's some of these links. Here's a couple of them right here. Oh, here's one. Okay. Just explains the gender pay gap. All right. And then I had another one I thought, but yeah, it's the same one that we looked at before. But I didn't find anything on here as far as like how they came to these numbers, or where these statistics are. Where's the raw data that I can look at and go how they went about finding all this stuff. But again, thanks for watching. I will see you next time.